Hello one and all, you join me on a beautiful sunny morning here with Tesla's Model S. Now Tesla is a car company that 10 years ago, let's face it, none of us had really heard of. Now however, they have really upset the establishment and we're looking at their first mainstream electric model, which is this Model S, a four-door luxury saloon. So let's take a closer look and work out really if electric cars are going to be the way forward. So, the Model S. It's often said, and it's a bit of a cliche, but I really do think that this is a game changer for the automotive market. It's the first electric car that offers genuine usability. Three models available: the 70, the 90 and the P90D. The numbers stand for kilowatt hours, 70 being the entry-level model at £58,000 here in the UK, all the way up to the P90, which is the performance model. It's important to note that in the UK those figures are net of a government grant of £4,500. Government kindly sponsoring some of your purchase of the car to encourage take-up of electric vehicles. But it's the stats that really make the Model S stand out. So even at the 70, which is the base model, although albeit at £58,000 it's hardly base, but you get 250 miles of electric range, and the performance is still exceptional, offering 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. Remember, electric cars offer instantaneous power, so they're very real world quick. There's not many cars that will beat this car off the traffic lights. The P90D, the D stands for all-wheel drive. Only the 70, which is the base version, is available as rear-wheel drive. But the P90D will actually hit 60 in about 2.8 seconds, which makes it probably one of the fastest cars on the road, and the range of that is even up at 315 miles. The middle version, the 90, will offer 350 miles of electric range. Now, in fairness, those quoted figures are taken under special scientific conditions, and therefore it's worth noting that real world range, so that's driving with aircon or heating or stereo heated seats, etc., is 250 miles. The amazing thing with Tesla is that they have put in supercharger stations which will take the car from 0 to 85% in about 35 minutes. So they say, you know, you go to your service station, have a coffee, leave the Tesla on charge, and it won't even cost you a penny, aside from the coffee, that is. But it's not just the numbers with the Model S. Because it's fully electric, it allows for a completely different way of packaging the car. I mean, although the car looks like it's got a bonnet, let's have a look at the key. The key's quite cool, represents the outline of the model there. Now if we double click on the front of the key, you'll see, lifting this up, so you do have a front boot. Simply, obviously there's no combustion engine to speak of, so you get the added practicality. Fairly deep boot. Rest assured however that there is a conventional rear boot as well. Again, back to the key, double click on the back of the key, and there you'll see a carnivorous, let's get out the sun, a carnivorous boot there. And all the charging paraphernalia is located there. So you get two boots. The other bonus that you can specify with the car is, and it's not on this particular model, you can actually have an optional 2 rear seats here in the boot, which can fold up and fold down accordingly. So actually you can make your Tesla a 5+2. So that's a car that's capable of carrying 5 adults and 2 children with the 2 boots. Let's have a look inside. Again, I'll show you some of the unique packaging that you get with the Model S, and importantly the tech as well. So then, as I was describing a moment ago, some of the unique packaging that you can get with an electric car, it allows for much more interior space. So for example, if you look in here at the back, you'll notice a complete absence of transmission tunnel. So obviously no transmission as such needed for the electric motor, so it's a completely flat floor, which is how you can then get 3 adults to sit in the back. Now, getting in the back is not too bad at all, but inside, if you thought touchscreens were getting big in other cars, take a look at the Model S. The whole interior is dominated by the central touch screen, which controls all of the infotainment on the car and controls all of your interaction with the car as well. I'll take you into the front, show you how all of that works, but you can really see the impressive size of that central tablet. In the back, well in the car really, full length panoramic roof, which helps to let a lot of light in the car, makes it feel much more spacious, which actually it really is. There's plenty of space in here for 3 adults. I've got my seat now as to where I would normally have it, and plenty of leg room there. Nice height room as well. Nice detailing with the suede roof lining as well. Let's go and have a look at the tech, because this is where I could do a whole video on all of the different functions you can get with the car. So inside the Tesla then, you get a instrument display. I think that's a TFT screen there, so all the dials and everything are virtually rendered. And as I alluded to earlier, you get this whopping great central touchscreen. I thought I'd come into a car park because it's just then easier to see, but really it's ginormous, this screen. And usually touchscreens don't work particularly well, but this has all the kind of functionality you'd associate with your smartphone. So pinch to zoom, you can turn the maps around to whatever layout you prefer. So navigation obviously is taken care of through Google Mapping. It's very quick. If we then just type in, for example, last postcode, and it'll calculate the route. The nice thing as well is that you get real-time traffic information as well, and the route is also helpfully put up on the central screen in front of the driver as well, meaning that you don't have to then take your hands off the wheel, which is a nice touch. Down here you have your temperature and ventilation controls, heated seats, climate control. So again, there is literally no buttons whatsoever, it's all taken care of via this touchscreen system. For entertainment, music wise, as you'd expect, you get DAB digital radio, but interestingly you cannot get a CD player, which might make me sound terribly dated. So instead what they do is they give you access to Spotify, and because of the built-in 3G system, you can then stream all of the music direct through the car speakers. You down here, if you want, if you can just see there, you've got a USB input sockets to connect your phone as well, and this is nice actually. If you look, given that there's obviously no transmission tunnel or anything, you get this very flat storage area really, which is grooved, so it grips everything in there. But it just, again, because of this lovely flat floor system, it just makes the car seem incredibly spacious as well. You also have access to the internet, and whoever was travelling in this car before has helpfully looked at Porsche's own version of the Tesla, which I think is out, well, will be out hopefully in a few years' time. It's just a concept car at this stage. You then got cameras as you would expect, and that's a rather alarming view of a big van bearing down on us, and it just shows how precariously I have parked. Or your normal Bluetooth systems as well. In terms of the general interior, you've got some nice suede top to dashboard here with leather stitching as well. The leather, I have to say, is not of the premium quality that you would expect or would associate from some of the German manufacturers, for example. But it's a nice interior, and it really focuses on that tech side. So I think with the improvements to the car coming, improved leather quality and things like that, it will just put Tesla in line with the premium other manufacturers. Okay then, so the drive. How does the Tesla Model S drive? Well, two sides to it really. On the one hand, it's utterly conventional. It drives just like a normal automatic. So you have an accelerator and a brake pedal. The transmission does its own thing, bearing in mind there is no gears as such. You just have reverse, neutral or drive, so it's very easy to drive. But on the other hand, it's anything but conventional, because it distorts your perception of what we've been used to when it comes to driving cars, whether they're petrol or electric. The silence is the thing that grabs you right from the off. So you set off in absolute silence, and that silence continues, of course, because there's a complete absence of any mechanical noise. And the other thing that then grabs you when you're on the move is the instant power. Because it's an electric motor, it has power right from the get-go. So when you consider a normal car, say a normal car, conventional car shall we say, with a combustion engine, really to get it to work hard, you have to put your foot down and let it rev, and then you'll get the power you want. With an electric car, it's just instant thrust, and that is really addictive, and it's exhilarating, because the type of performance, this kind of instant performance that the Model S offers, is something that previously was just reserved for, let's say, supercars and really high performance cars and things like that. And this brings a level of performance, as I said earlier, I think 0 to 60 for this model is 3 seconds, into a whole different category, and opens up the market to a lot of people. You know, this car is priced at I believe it's about £85,000, so it's middle of the market for the Model S. The top of the range super performance car, the P90D, is about £100,000, and that, with its associated ludicrous mode, will do 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. So it really, you have to recalibrate your brain when you drive, because instantly powerful and all in complete silence. And the other thing is, because it lacks all the conventional mechanicals, has a nice low center of gravity, so it responds really well, it handles beautifully, it doesn't feel a heavy car, even with all the battery weight associated with it. It's very light on its feet, and I can only say that it glides along the road. Anyone that I've taken in the car has said that it feels like a silent Concorde. When you put your foot down and you have that get pushed back in your seat, it reminds those who are lucky enough to have travelled on Concorde of the feeling of accelerating down a runway, and all in absolute silence, and that's what really grabs you with the car. I'll show you actually how quick that translates, all of that power, in the real world, and I'll do a video now of me in the car accelerating to full power, and a video out of the car, so you can see really how exceptionally quick the Tesla Model S really is. Right then, back in the car again. As I mentioned earlier, the Model S has an accelerator and a brake, just like a conventional automatic. But the other area where this car differs in its drive is that the moment you lift off the accelerator, you get a marked braking effect on the car. The reason for that is that it takes essentially the unburnt kinetic energy and I guess converts it into potential energy and puts it back into the battery. That's my basic understanding of it, but essentially what it means is you can then in the real world just drive this car with one pedal. Of course, when you need to stop, you use the brake to bring the car to an absolute stop, but let's say the car in front of you starts to slow down. Simply to brake in this car, you take your foot off the accelerator, and with all that energy going back into the battery, it has that braking effect. So it's really easy to drive, and it may have two pedals, but actually in operation you just need to use one of them, which is the accelerator pedal. So another interesting feature that the Tesla Model S has brought to the market is what's called Autopilot. So if I flick this switch here twice towards me, the car now actually will maintain my speed. It will also maintain the distance to the car in front. But this is where the autopilot differs from normal cruise control functions, because I can now remove my hands from the steering wheel, so that the car is kept in its lane and is aware of the other cars around it. Now Tesla do say that you should keep your hands on the wheel, and I am assured that if you take them off for long enough, the system automatically will cut out. But essentially, for a period of time, the car can drive itself hands-free, maintaining the distance and your speed. Now the other interesting thing is, if I place my hands back on the wheel, I can actually change, or the car will change lanes when I indicate as well. So hands back on the steering wheel, if I now indicate, the car changes lanes for me. I then have to cancel the indicator, and it will then speed up to whatever designated speed that I've asked it to do. And then if I just get past this car, if I then indicate left, it then takes me back into lane 1, and it will reduce my speed to maintain the distance before I go into the back of the truck in front. It is worth saying actually that the autopilot that Tesla have on the car only works on motorways and freeways in the US. The reason is that it uses the white lines of the lanes to work out where the car is positioned. Yeah, I mean, it represents the beginning really of autonomous driving. So it's another string in the box for Tesla and how they've differentiated themselves from what the other luxury cars can offer. The ability to just sit here, arms folded, and let the car drive itself, but only on the motorway, and you still need your hands on the steering wheel occasionally, otherwise the system will trip out. So what we'll do now is we'll stop off at a service station, and I'll show you how the car is charged. So then, charging. As I alluded to earlier, Tesla provide these wonderful supercharging stations at services or along the motorway, along the major trunk roads of the UK, they say. So M1, there's one here in the Oxford services at M40. So I just parked the car up. It's at 107 miles range now. So all you do, grab your supercharger cable, press the little chrome button there, which opens the charge point, put it in, it locks in place, and now your Tesla is at its natural feeding / watering hole. So I'll leave this here probably for another half an hour, so 105 miles when I plugged it in, and we'll just see half an hour later what range we've got added. So I'll just show you this. As you walk up to the car, this is a nice feature with the Tesla. You see that the door handles are recessed, the key is in my pocket, and as I walk up to the car, out come the door handles. Just looked, and let's say the car has been on charge for the last 20 minutes. What was it? 105 miles I think when we left it, and it's now up to 150 miles. So actually it's probably a little bit under 20 minutes time, but anyway, you get the idea. It's a very quick, fast way to charge the car, just essentially whilst you have a coffee and relax. And all you do to disconnect, press the button on the top, releases, and just there you go, easy as that. Last thing, close a little flap, job done. So there you have it then, the Tesla Model S. The real game changer, I think, of the electric car market. Has fast charging time, much longer range than previous generation electric cars. It's good fun to drive, extremely quick, nicely refined, practical too with the 2 boots. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what the legacy car manufacturers like Mercedes, Jaguar, Audi, BMW, what they all do to finally come up with an equivalent competitor to the Tesla. And in turn it will also be interesting to understand what happens when those manufacturers do indeed make a fully electric car and offer the same capabilities as the Model S, and therefore how then will Tesla differentiate themselves. Final point to leave you with, the car is starts at £58,000 all the way up to £100,000, so it's still a premium priced product. But by next year Tesla will have launched their Model 3, which is their family type car, which will start at a claimed £35,000. Well, that's the indicated price anyway, which again will be a real step change for the car, for the electric car market again. So interesting times. So there you have it then, Tesla's Model S. It's a pretty cool bit of kit. Any questions you have on the car, do let me know. And as always, there will be a full written report, the link to which will appear in the comment section or description section below the video. Thank you again for watching, and of course if there are any cars you would like me to review on your behalf, do let me know. Other than that, I shall see you soon.